true story. It happened to a friend of mine. But like, how friendly can you be with a guy who likes to spend all his free time sitting on his roof playing with his telescope? Which is why the guy deserved the name Pigeon Dave. Take the night Pigeon Dave was on his roof, staring at the stars through his telescope like always. Suddenly, he saw this UFO. Or so he thought. Dave went bonkers and called the cops. "Hello, police," he said. "I want to report an unidentified flying object." Well, yeah, right. But the cop had to come over and check it out because a report is a report. And so he climbed onto Pigeon Dave's roof and fell. Benny the cop was hanging from the ledge, hollering. Pigeon Dave couldn't find the UFO, so he was hollering too. Pigeon Dave finally hoisted old scaredy cat Benny onto the roof. Fortunately, Benny was thankful, so he didn't arrest Dave for calling in a false alarm. The next night, Pigeon Dave went right back to peek through his dumb old telescope again. This time, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find stars anywhere. But when Pigeon Dave was finally able to focus, he was looking at an apartment across town. And what Pigeon Dave saw was one scary sight. No, not the big fat guy disco dancing by himself in his window. Down one and to the right. No, not the lady with the mud pack and the curlers gargling into her sink. To the left. There. Pigeon Dave focused on a window where the shades were pulled down tight. But behind the shades, he saw a shadowy silhouette. And the shadow on the shade was doing something very strange. What looked like an arm holding something long and pointy was coming down over and over again on somebody's head. Now, Pigeon Dave was sure he saw somebody being stabbed. Well, Pigeon Dave had to call the cops. And wouldn't you know it, Benny took the call. And he agreed to meet Dave at the building. When Benny pulled up, he tried to look mean to show he'd better not be tricked this time. Pigeon Dave told him to look up and see for himself. Benny looked up at a window and said, "I admit the guy's a lousy dancer, but that ain't no reason to arrest him." Dave told him, No, you're looking at the wrong window." He pointed to the silhouette of the arm going up and down, and suddenly it stopped. "We're too late," says Dave. They rushed up to the apartment door, and that's when they heard a grunting, moaning sound. Over and over again, a pained, awful groaning. Benny said, "Step back. This is police business now." And with that, he sprung into action. Taking 3 steps back, Benny lowered one shoulder, sized up the door, and took off. And whammo! He bounced right off the door. At which point, Pigeon Dave turned the knob and opened the door. Inside, Gus Velour, the big-time mobster, was working out in his home gym. Every time Big Gus lifted his legs, the weight machine came down on his chest. And every time it did, Big Gus let out this grunt. Big Gus was not exactly thrilled to see Benny without a warrant. He got off his machine and threw his towel past the sprawled-out Benny. Well, Benny was forced to apologize to Big Gus for barging in without an invitation, suspecting there was a dead body in the place. Big Gus just stood over him, dripping sweat onto Benny's face. For the second time in 2 nights, Pigeon Dave had gotten Benny all embarrassed. After Benny finally got calmed down and stopped threatening to put Pigeon Dave in the clink and throw away the key, Pigeon Dave went back home and climbed onto his roof. He took one last look through his trusty spyglass. There was Big Gus Velour looking straight at him. And Big Gus had this weird, evil grin on his face. And he even winked at Pigeon Dave. Winked and laughed. An eerie, maniacal laugh that echoed across the rooftops. Oh, this is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine, Pigeon Dave, who decided that instead of calling the cops, he'd just call it quits.